Well, good morning, class. It's Mr. Gordon back, and I'm here to go over Chapter 19 and all the components and what Chapter 19 is about. So, Chapter 19.1 is about inequality across the world and over time. So, in that chapter, this would be talking about where the wealth belongs to, either the rich or the population. But right now, what this section is about is where is the wealth going to? Is it either going to 1% richest or is it going to 10% of the population? But the indicator has an advantage that can be measured over 100 years because the very rich have long been required to pay taxes, and hence we have reasonable good information on their incomes and wealth. So meaning that because rich people have been filing taxes and paying taxes, that helps the community out getting taxes around tax time. 19.2, chapter 19, section 2. Accidents of birth, another lens to study, inequality. Well, inequality is pretty much discrimination either on race or gender. It's also determined by the family that you're born into and the country that you're born into. You're more fortunate living in America than any other country, but you have to be wealthy to survive it. You do have to be wealthy. Section 19.3 is what if anything is wrong with inequality. This suggests that for many people to question how much inequality is too much. Well, inequality in this chapter is about being rich or poor. So this is what this is going over. But that's nothing too crazy. Chapter 19.4, how much inequality is too much or too little. And this section is about what class you're in, like what you're born into. What you're born into is determined if you're going to be wealthy or you're going to be poor. Oh yeah, how rich should the richer class be, and how poor should the poor class be? This determines what class you're in. So for section 19.5, that will be about endowments, technology, and institutions. And with that, this determines individuals receiving different income, financial wealth, and school and work experience. So if you don't have at least a level that a job is looking for, they're not going to want you. Chapter 19.6, inequality, endowments, and principal agent relationships. Now this one will be about employer and employee and unequal relationships. I'm going to show you what that is. So, like the relationship between the employer and the employee, the other principal to agent models we have seen reflect the unequal relationships between groups of people with different endowments such as landlords and tenant farmers and borrowers and lenders. Chapter 19.7, putting the model to work, explaining changes in inequality. This chapter would be about educational level of the workforce and also discrimination. An increase in the educational level of the workforce, a reduction in discrimination against the segment of the workforce, automation of production, reducing the demand for some skills and increasing others. Meaning, depending on your depending on what you know and the skills you have, that determines, that's going to determine what job you have and what job you can get. If you don't have the necessary skills, they're not going to want you. You're not going to get a job, really, with that specific job. But Section 19.8, pre-distribution. This chapter will be about skills and also labor market segmentation. But in this one, it's increased education of the workforce. This changes the endowments of employees, adding skills and other relevant capacities that will affect the market incomes. Eliminating or reducing labor market segmentation. This and other anti-discrimination policies will alter the prices, or when you work in wages, that a person's endowment will be paid in labor market. In particular, it raises the value of the endowments of people who otherwise would suffer discrimination. Other aspects of redistribution affect the basic institutional structure of the economy by defining and enforcing a legal framework in which the employer, banks, employees, unions, borrowers, and other key economic actors interact. Governments affect the distribution of market income. So, Chapter 19.9, Section 9. Explaining recent trends in inequality and market income. To explain the reduction in between country inequality and associated reduction between household inequality in the world, think of the world as a single capitalist economy with a labor market that is segmented along national lines. To do this, we propose a very simple economy of the world with just two countries, China and Europe, and North America. So instead of two labor market segments in the same country, there are two countries, a low-wage country and a high-wage country, a little like China and the U.S. in Unit 18. Just as it is not easy for workers to move up from secondary to the primary labor market within a country, but the global economy has nationally segmented labor markets because of the barriers facing workers who would like to relocate from one country to another. So that chapter pretty much explain like what immigration is and like why people immigrate. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong looking for a better life. Chapter 19, but Section 10, which is redistribution, taxes, and transfers. This chapter would be about public unemployment insurance, also about the European Union too as well. But similarly, public unemployment insurance is a way for people of working age to smooth their incomes in the face of the risk of unemployment. We pay while we are working, and we receive payments if we are out of work. These forms of social insurance are not targeted specifically at poor people, but they have a large impact on inequality because most retired people and unemployed people would be very poor if they did not receive social insurance payments. In fact, in the European Union, public pensions are the policy with the greatest impact on inequality. They reduce the average Gini coefficient by 0.11, more than all other transfers combined. Section 11. Equality and economic performance. This one will be about levels of cooperation, policies that enhance endowments, and less use of guard labor. High levels of cooperation and trust, an economy based on services such as the production of knowledge and care of others cannot perform well if people are entirely self-interested. Cooperation and trust are essential for much of the modern economy, but they are difficult to sustain among people paid vastly different sums of money. Societies that are more equal create more trust among citizens and therefore enjoy better economic performance. Policies that enhance endowments of the poor, high quality health services, and education contribute to more productive use of an economy's resources. This is also true of policies that raise the value and endowments of the poor, as illustrated by the land reform, Operation Barga in West Bengal. Less use of guard labor, the construction of secure environments for the rich, such as gated communities and other guarding activities that protect the assets of and provide the security to the wealthy, divert resources that could be used for productive investment. Now, I have a lot of parts for conclusion to talk about, but I'm gonna just go over the main parts. In terms of income around the world, in some countries that's out there that doesn't make as much as some other countries. The world is not perfect. There's still some things that needs to be worked on. Now, the things that need to be worked on is inequality, discrimination, labor market segmentation, secondary to primary market, public unemployment insurance, like all that. All that has to get better. Like, some countries need to develop that, but some countries don't. But in America, we have most of these things, and pretty much America does what they can for people as much as they can. I give them that. Not everybody is wealthy, but you have a handful of people that is, and you have a lot more people that's not. But the wealthy people also, they do stuff for the poor. They always do stuff for the poor. But also with jobs though, if you don't have a certain educational level or show them like you have a certain skill to help them out in their workforce, most times they don't want you, but sometimes some jobs have different like entry levels within one job. So like they gonna put you somewhere. They gonna have you somewhere. It's not hard to get a job as long as you don't have a felony. But the jobs, they tend to do a lot for people. What else I need to touch on? Oh yeah, if you work with a job for so long and you retire, after you retire, you still receive payments. You get benefits like healthcare insurance, like dentist insurance, like doctor's insurance, like stuff like that. You get all that, even when you retire. Man, the way that sounds right now, I'm looking forward to retirement. What else? Also about the class that you're born into. If you were born poor, sometimes you're not gonna be poor all your life. Like, sometimes you get opportunities to do more, and you can make more money, and you can take care of others around you. So, and even the rich, sometimes they go broke too. So, you never know. You gotta learn how to save money, put money up, pay your bills, take care of everything. But the most important thing about living in America, save your money. Save your money. And one thing to talk about, the last thing that I need to touch up on would be, let's figure this out. Oh yeah, age and relationships, or the unequal relationships. That's what that is. Pretty much the same thing, but at the same time, it's equal, but it's not equal. Like an employer and employee, yeah, like a person is your boss, but I mean, you still got a job. Y'all both still getting paid. Y'all might not get paid the same, but it happens because some people is above others. You have leaders, and you have the followers of the workforce. So you can't get nothing done if you don't got nobody in charge. Nothing can get done, and the company can go bad with that. So that's why some jobs you have more than one supervisor. You just have more of everything, but they try their best to keep it equal, at least to a point where everybody's happy. But that's all I got for today, class. thank you, and I very appreciate you listening, paying attention, and taking notes. We'll be going over this on the test next week, so make sure y'all study.